Well, hello and welcome to Talk Time. And this week, we're talking religion. We're going to talk about our own religion as Africans, African traditional religion. How does it fit in the current scheme of things? And what are the prospects for national development and for our own upliftment? Welcome to Talk Time.
Bibiara wa melkom Luciano le melkom Nofiano ye melkom. What are you looking for? Melkom got it so. Great discounts, no door. The mafia so. Best bargains on our days. Everything here is a bargain. High quality. Would be a priority. So tell your mom, tell Poppy, tell your actually everybody.
Hello, welcome back to Talk Time. And as I indicated, we're going to be talking about the African traditional religion. What is it? How come that some of us feel a bit wheezy about it? And what is it? How can it contribute to the national development effort? And how does it stand in relation to other religions and so on? And we are particularly privileged to have with us in the studio somebody who has taken his time to study and to understand African traditional religion. We have in the studio with us Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi of the Reformed Africanian Mission. Osofo, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, and salutations to your viewers and listeners.
Now, Osofo, I noticed that you call yourself Reformed Africanian Mission. Why Reformed?
Reformed because we believe that the Africanian Mission started by the late Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi has gone through a whole lot of processes. People even think that Africania as a religion is dead. So in reviving it, we have to apply the title of reform to it. We are reforming all the concepts that he initiated. That's why we have Reformed Africanian Mission.
Are there some changes in the concepts?
The changes which are manifesting is we're going back into the Nile Valley to see what was there, that some people have taken it, polished it, and claiming it to be theirs.
What was in the Nile Valley?
What was in the Nile Valley was that our ancestors believed that we emerged and held on to the belief that the energy which brought us into being is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, and does not discriminate. So for anybody to come around and tell us that they have seen God, they have seen the Creator, and they are coming to teach us the knowledge of the Creator, we will have to look at him again, him or her, because the Creator has not made any mistake. And we are the first children of the Creator. So nobody can come from anywhere and tell us how to relate to our Creator.
But the concept of an omnipotent, omnipresence, omniscient God and so on, is also a Christian concept.
Where did Christianity start from? That's
the point I'm making is that all of religion appears.
No, they borrowed it from us.
Okay.
They borrowed it from us, and they are claiming ownership of it. You will agree that the science of writing was started by the black people of the Nile Valley. Mm-hmm. So all the religious doctrines had been zeroed and put down into writing in the hieroglyphs. Mm-hmm. So if you have come to take from us, now you will know that papyrus does not grow in Italy. You know that one. So when they are telling you there is a Turin papyrus on religion, then you start asking yourself, when papyrus started growing in Turin? It never grows there up till today. So whatever you have, like we have the Brooklyn papyrus too in the US, on the basis of which they started the Jehovah's Witnesses sect. Where did they get it from? They got all from the Nile Valley. And the Nile Valley was the habitation of the black people. Because our ancestors were driven away from there, which they have captured in the book they call the Exodus. Then they've taken everything.
Is there something unique about African traditional religion? Is there something unique, something that distinguishes it from other religions?
African traditional religion, we relate to the environment. We respect the water bodies, we respect the trees. Everything that is with us naturally, we give recognition to it. So you see that we don't cut off trees like we are doing these days and exporting trees and destroying our environment. I was just looking at the galamsey going on now. And yesterday I was listening to a program on Muntie, and someone was saying that, why you can stop this galamsey by pledging allegiance to the water deities. That anybody who comes to destroy the water system, the deity must drag the person in and finish up with him. So our deities, we respect them. We respect our environment. We respect the sacred groves. We have time when we have to go fishing. We have time when we have to farm. And we have time we must relax. We have spoiled all these ones in the name of modernity. So we are not developing. What we are actually doing now is to be regained back into slavery. That's why we are going for GM foods, because we can't grow again.
Now, how come that our own religion appear to have taken a backstage?
Our own religion appear to have taken a backstage when you just go back to read what King Leopold II told the missionaries when he was sending them to the Congo. He told them, don't teach the African the knowledge of God because they already know him, but teach the African that his treasures are stored in heaven. And it is easier for the poor man to pass through the eye of the needle than for the rich man to go to heaven. So that the African will not be interested in the riches that his land has. He will believe that it is better for him to go to some heaven. So, and the oppression that they brought along with this, their barbaric lifestyle, made our people who have always known that peaceful coexistence was the best thing which can happen to man, they coiled, looking at these people who are racing for earthly treasures.
Now, you look at the world of religion.
Yes.
And for example, Christianity claims that it is for everybody.
Yes.
What does African traditional religion say? Is it a religion for Africans or is it a religion for everybody?
It's an indigenous religion. Everybody has an aspect of traditional religion. Christianity, before they stole it, the concept from Africa, what were they doing? You will see what they are doing even in their lifestyle, the white people in their lifestyle today. I was looking at the bombings in Iraq on this Julian Assange tape you were playing. You see the wickedness of those who call themselves whites. The African does not engage in this type of brutish activities. But that is what they do. They know how to do best. The U.S. Secretary of State was talking, just like the Italian who was talking about how they want to help Niger. The U.S. Secretary of State was condemning Russia over this Syrian issue. Then you hear the Italian saying that they are helping Niger. So the Niger can be studied to prevent these people who cross the Sahara, cross the Mediterranean into Italy. And she was even boasting that Italy is the only country which is protecting the migrants. Because they said that, what's the name, Gaddafi's country, Libya is a failed state. Then I sat back, I said, Libya as a failed state? Who caused it? It was Italy. And you know that Italy, under Pope Pius XI and Mussolini, invaded Ethiopia. Up till today, they have not been able to pay any reparation for the wealth they stole from Ethiopia. And then when I come back to Ghana, looking at our Ghanaian scenario, you will recall that during the last government, the least thing that the government does, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, they will issue a pastoral letter condemning everything. But they don't see anything wrong this time round. Then you ask yourself, when Berlusconi was Prime Minister of Italy, all the nasty things he did, was the Vatican able to open its mouth? No, because there is an agreement that keep to your corner, we will keep to ours. Take a ride down to Southern Volta region and just be looking at the Catholic churches and their properties spread all over the place. Then you come, you have Catholic churches, you go to Soweto, they have the largest tract of land. Why? Because they have to colonize us. And the Catholic Church was the fountain of the slave trade. You know that one. They organized the slave trade. They organized the Berlin Conference on the partitioning of Africa. They sponsored the League of Nations. They have created the United Nations organization, and they are involved in every nasty thing.
What is the theological difference between African traditional religion and other religions? The theological difference.
The theological difference there is that we believe, like I said earlier, there is no discrimination from the infinite intelligence. But when you come to other religions like Islam and Christianity, you know that Islam, they pay obeisance to the Holy Prophet Muhammad. They say we should always add peace be unto him. So anything that Muhammad says, or they claim that Allah has said this, you have no right to question. Now we have Jesus Christ as the only begotten Son of some God. So you are not a son of God. We believe that we are all children of the creative energy. So we don't discriminate. We don't say that we know God better than anybody else. But we believe that since we are the creation of God, we must pay obeisance to God. Not like the others who said that unless you are a Christian, you are born again, you cannot enter into the kingdom. No, we don't have that one.
Is there something about African traditional religion that needs to change or be reformed?
Now, it depends upon what you say is wrong with African traditional religion. But I believe that we are not doing anything wrong. Anybody who is misrepresenting African traditional religions, the deities deal with such people. You cannot say that you are a priest in charge of a shrine. Then you will put yourself above the deity. The deity will remove you. That's why all these foreign religions feel that African deities and our religion, there is no forgiveness of sins. There can be no forgiveness of sins when you are told that don't do this, and you go and do it, and you want to be forgiven. No. The wages of sin, they say, is what? Is death. So when you commit a sin, you must die. That is African traditional religion. If you are the head priest, and they say, don't touch this one. And you go and touch it. The deity must punish you so that next time nobody does that one. We attended a workshop in Bato organized by the Baptist Church. What was their problem? They said we must abolish the Tronkoshi system.
I was going to come to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but carry on.
We must abolish the Tronkoshi system. Then I asked the guy, what is wrong with the Tronkoshi system? You are a Christian, aren't you? He said, yes. I said, do you understand the Tronkoshi system? He says, no. There is imprisonment of young girls and all this. I said, fine. Samuel, the birth of Samuel in the Bible was a part of the same system. If you don't take seed and you need a child, your husband is putting too much pressure on you or is discriminating against you like it was in the case of Hannah. You go to the shrine. You pledge like Hannah did, that if I should have the child, that child must serve in the shrine. They decided to call the shrine a temple. That is their business. But when Hannah gave birth to that small boy, which the British decided to call Samuel, she sent the child to the shrine. Though Eli had children who could have succeeded him at the time of his passing on, he handed the shrine over to Samuel. Why? Because he is the child of the shrine. He knows how to keep the things. That is what the deity has decreed. And the deity gave that child because he wants that child to serve. You have the Rastafarians with their dreadlocks. Now, when you are born out of the magnanimity of the deity in a shrine, no razor is to touch the hair. So you are committed to the shrine. If they are performing any festival of anything, you are part of that shrine. But for that shrine, you will not have come onto this plane. So you have to partake in it.
What about the claim which has been made, about human sacrifice, for example?
Human sacrifice. Who has seen anybody sacrificing anybody? Nobody. In fact, in 2007, I was part of the research team put up, sponsored by the Danes, through Shraj. And we went around looking for enslaved girls. We went round and round and round and round. The point at which I am not part of the team, when I am relaxing, then the Shraj staff will steal out and go and take some pictures of some so-called liberated slaves. Until today, the report cannot come out because if it comes out, it proves that all the claims on the basis of which they collected monies from the Danes will not be found. So they've kept it. The former Shraj boss who was involved in some estate hotel accommodation business and had to be pushed off, we met at Gimpa, and she was also coming to lay claims that Shraj went into the field and found a host of girls imprisoned. Then I challenged her there. I was part of the team. Bring the report, let's see. There is no report. And she couldn't present any report until she was booted out of office. So all these Christian religions, in fact, they are being financed by their foreign partners. And once the financing is coming, they continue making noise. When there is no finance, they keep quiet. You might have heard of Reverend Ping Pong. He was one of the leading advocates of the abolition of Tronkoshi. If I show you a certificate they were issuing to so-called shrine owners, then you have about 4 or 5 people owning one shrine, and they were all signing. And the certificate was printed in the US and brought down here, and the people were made to sign to collect their monies. So it was a business that people were doing, and there are still people who would like to revive that business because the donors, they have a lot of money, they don't know what to do with it, so they will pump. But we are also ready. We will expose them.
Now, when you look at African traditional religion, are they all the same?
No,
they
cannot be the same.
So what are the differences?
Now, for instance, you come to our area like this, we have the Voodoo Da, the snake deity.
That's the Voodoo Da.
Yes. The Voodoo Da spreads, in fact, it started from the Nile Valley. You have noticed that you have the snake on the crown of the pharaoh. Now we have the snake deity. We have the thunder. We have the bees and all these things. Now you go to like Ashanti region, you have Antwa, you have river deities. Where you don't have a river, there is another form of deity, like the rock. I went to Shiari, the Shiari mountain, the steppe settlement. They also have a different type of deity. The trees have deities. So where you don't have trees and you have just the desert land, there are deities there.
Well, viewers, we're talking about religion, and we're talking about African traditional religion in relation to the other religions. And we're talking to Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, I'd like to look at the similarities and differences between the various deities. The Voodoo Da, for example, as compared to those who worship the river deity and so on. Short break.
It's a beautiful day. I'm gonna make most of it. It's a beautiful day, a day to share with you. You'll make my world go round. Yeah, yeah. It's really got me saying, nice girl. Brings home happiness.
Experience the wide range of top quality and affordable electronics, phones, tablets, home and office appliances from NASCO. NASCO, bring home happiness.
Hello, welcome back to Talk Time. We are talking about African traditional religion, and we are talking to Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi. Now, sir, you are speaking about some of the different African religions.
Yeah.
You spoke about the Voodoo Da, which you claim comes all the way from the Nile.
The Nile Valley.
The Nile Valley and so on. What are the differences?
Yeah, like I was saying, the snake, we say Voodoo Da, the snake deity, like our brothers in India, you see they also have Voodoo Da. You will not go into any shrine in India, you won't see snake represented there. But the snake deity actually started from the Nile Valley. Now Voodoo Da, Voodoo is to liberate the community. Now you have Da, the head of the snake on the crown of the pharaoh. That is the highest sensitive area of the human body. Now the snake can live with you wherever you are for whatever number of years in the same room. If you don't make up your mind to harm the snake, it has no problem with you. You can live comfortably. Don't be surprised. The snake will not harm you. But the moment you decide to destroy the snake, it will harm you. It has that psychic perceptive powers to know that this my companion wants to harm me. Now they protect the communities. If you go to Nkwanta, you want to move up to the Breast Mountains. There is a snake deity there which crosses, when it's crossing the road, no vehicle, no means of transport, nobody must move. You must wait till it crosses. When it has entered into the bush, you can go. It's there to protect you. The snakes protect us. Now, we have the river. The river is the source of drinking water for us. The deities also inhabit the rivers. You see that when you are a grown-up driver and you are driving across a river in a car or across a bridge, the grown-ups will always toot the horn. Why? Because the deities have moved out of the river to come and relax. Now, if you just drive straight like that, you drive into them, you might have an accident. I know those who call themselves scientists will say that is unscientific. But there are so many things that they cannot explain with their sciences. Now, apart from the deities in the rivers, we have the mountain deities. Now, if you go to Adaklu, near Ho, you take a look at the Adaklu mountain, and you see that there are moments when it will shake itself. So all the buildings close by that mountain have got cracks. You can patch it. But when the mountain decides to shake itself again, you will get the cracks. So you have to perform the necessary rituals. Those who don't have mountains around their places, they have other forms which inhabit the deities. I saw some I had a sad experience last 2 weeks when I was going to Kita. Now, with the founder of the settlement known as Anglogan today, where he founded the place, overpowered the deity. In the name of modernity, some people have decided to put up a shopping mall and have enclosed the shrine. And there are supposed to be chiefs there. But that is a different ball game because we have chiefs who are Christians, so they don't respect what the infinite intelligence gave to us. But last 2 or 3 days it was raining. The rain started from, it was in Kita, it jumped over them and came and rained this way. So I had a call that the rain just dodged them. I said, no, but the rain will not deal with you because you have gone against the dictates of the land. You see that the sea too, we have deities in the sea. You remember during the Rawlings era, Tuesdays, you are not supposed to go on the sea to fish. But there was this family in Osu who thought they were being smart. They left late Monday night and they were on the sea Tuesday morning. But the sea deity had to show them that, no, you don't dodge. So they had an accident. All of them died except a small boy who was carried to Benin on a broken part of their canoe. And eventually when he was brought back, he had to narrate the story, that was what happened. Somebody just came out of the sea and hit their canoe. When you go to Adatu, they also tell you a story of meeting an old man on an island in the sea. When they had gone smuggling, they were being chased. So they met the old man sitting in an island, but they know that there is no island there. When they saw the old man, he rescued them. And that is part of the sea deity. Then we have the latest case of the musician Castro, who has disappeared into the estuary at Adan, and up till now, nobody has found him. But they have accepted him in there. Maybe he will come out one day and become one of the leading traditional spiritualists in our society, or he is somewhere else. So the deities, they all have their roles to play. And in fact, you can see me, I can see you, but when there is a deity here or a spirit here, you can't see. You know of the unidentified flying objects. Who brought them? They are also from the spiritual realm. So the African...
They are also deities.
Yes, the African spirituality or concept of religion encompasses every aspect of life, both seen and unseen.
But Osofo, I was actually trying to find out if there were differences, you know, the different deities. For example, the snake god, the river god,
the river
and so
god,
on.
the mountain.
Are there differences between them?
That is a higher level of consciousness. They operate on different levels, but they all operate for the welfare of humanity.
And how are they related to this one omnipresence, omnipotent, omni, you know?
That is an energy. Now, unlike what the Christians
So you have
claim,
different gods. You have the snake god, you have the river god.
You have the snake deity.
Snake deity, you have the river deity, you have the mountain deity, and so on. And there is supposed to be an omnipotent, omnipresence, whatever God. How do all of this relate?
The omnipotence of the eternal energy manifests in everything. You got it?
So the omnipotence of the internal energy
manifests in every aspect of the mountain deity, in the sand, in whatever exists has an aspect of that omnipotence in there.
To what extent are men shapers of their own destiny? Are people shapers of their own destiny?
To what extent do they shape their destiny?
Yeah, people. Human beings.
Do human beings shape their destiny, or they go according to the rules laid down? There are rules guiding our every movement. So if you think you can go out of the line, you will be brought back.
So we are not in control of anything.
What are you in control of? You are in control of nothing. You only claim to be in control, whereas you are not.
So why then do we get punished if we are not in control of anything? If everything is predestined and so on.
And you are
why do we get punished?
No, you have always been told, you can do this, you can do that, but don't do this. If you go against what you have been told not to do, why shouldn't you be punished?
So then, if indeed there are some things that we can refuse to do,
yes,
then to some extent we are in charge of our own destinies, aren't we?
Are you in charge? If you are told you can do this, you can do that, but don't do this.
It means I have a free will. I can choose to do A or choose to do B.
You can choose to do A or B, provided you have been given the permission to do it. If you are not given the permission, you can't do it.
So why then do we get punished for things that we have been permitted to do?
No, you are not punished for things you are permitted to do. You are punished for things you are not permitted to do.
Which means that we can do some things outside the will of God.
Then you get your punishment. Not outside the will of God. The Creator can decide to give you a leeway to fool yourself into believing that you can do things He has asked you not to do. And when you do it...
Why does the Creator, or why should the Creator give me a leeway to fool myself so that he can punish me in the end.
Well, you have
That must be a very interesting creator. To do something for which he can come back and punish me. When he could actually have decided that, look, there's no leeway. This is the narrow and straight path to salvation.
You see, when you go to some of the shrines, the shrine keepers know. Like I was talking of this Bato experience, the young man knew that the keeper of that shrine had been called to the beyond because he slept with somebody in the shrine. So he knew that sleeping with anybody in the shrine was forbidden. Then when he had the opportunity of becoming the priest, he decided to do the same things that his predecessor did. When he was punished the same way, the brother called a meeting and said, all the money I had sent on my brother. I wanted him to go abroad, but they said the deity wanted him to serve. Then in serving, he made a mistake of sleeping with one of the girls and he got punished. The deity could have realized that that is a young man who should not have been punished. I said, because it is your brother and you have spent your money, that's why you think that he must be forgiven. But your brother knew that that was the same thing his predecessor did and got punished. Why do you go there and do the same thing? You see this? So when you know, there are 42 laws according to the ancient Egyptians, but we don't like to go by them. We know those laws are there. You know, as Christians claim that there are 10 commandments. Thou must not steal. You know that you must not steal, and you go to steal and you want to be forgiven. Now when you go to somebody's farm, maybe you go and take a tuber of yam. You are free, but you must realize that you can't make that your business. If you want to be eating yam, go and grow your yam. But if you go, every day you go and take a tuber from someone's farm, you are reducing his output. And you must be punished. That is stealing. But if just for once, you don't have a problem. The supreme intelligence will permit you. But if you make it your business, every time you go to the farm to go and just be uprooting his yam, you want to be forgiven, you must be punished. So the law says, the supreme intelligence says, maybe you are hungry, then you are given the leeway. But when you make it your business, why shouldn't you be punished?
With the supreme intelligence, should there be a maybe? The supreme intelligence is supposed to know everything.
He knows.
To understand everything.
Yes.
To be omnipotent.
He is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient.
Omniscient.
But does not discriminate.
Exactly.
Yes.
So where is the maybe when you are dealing with such a God? There's no maybe when you are dealing with such a God.
So the laws are there to be respected and obeyed. You are hungry and you go and take. You are allowed that one. But if you go the following day
and take again,
you have deliberately decided to starve somebody of his labor and you must be punished for it.
How do we know these laws? I'm born in Kotobabi.
Yes.
To parents who have no interest in knowing this law. I grow up, I go to school, no teacher knows the laws and doesn't care about the laws and so on. How are we supposed to know these laws? For which violations of which lead to punishment?
Now when you go to school, they teach you that stealing is not good. Don't you?
Yeah, but that's not the law of African religion, is it? That's a universal law.
It's a universal law, but you know that stealing is not good. If you steal, what do you expect? You must be punished.
So if we all listen to our teachers, we would be Africanians, would we?
Not necessarily. I'm just citing that one because you wanted to find out why you are not being taught. And I just cited that one, which you must necessarily know. That stealing is not permissible. Even not only in the school, your parents will have taught you in your house that stealing is not permissible. Whether your parents are African traditional religious practitioners or not, they know that stealing is not permissible, so you don't steal. And when you go and steal, when they have taught you not to steal and you are punished, you say no.
There's another controversy,
Yes.
especially within the Christian church,
Yeah.
about the pouring of libation. What's your view on the pouring of libation?
Pouring of libation is prayer to the omnipotent creator. On what do we pour the libation? Doesn't the rain fall on earth? Right? And we pour libation on the earth. We watering the ground. You say that one is not good, but you prefer to be shouting in the air. Huh? We are saying that our highest form of prayer, in fact, the earth itself is an energy by itself. So we are paying obeisance to Mother Earth. And you say you don't like that one. You want to go and drink a wine and say that you are praying to Jesus?
Is it true that the Christian prayer and the pouring of libation may be alike?
Yes. Before answering that one, I will take your mind back to the cross of our days in ancient Egypt. Now, when you get to realize that Emperor Theodosius and Emperor Justinian, they took most of the things from the temples of the Nile Valley and closed down the temples. And all the things that they took from there were the basis of what they call the Christian religion. So all the practices in the Nile Valley, they borrowed them. And then they transformed them to suit their purposes. And they came now, and they are telling us that they are teaching us the knowledge of God. Then when Martin Luther got down to the Nile Valley and said, but what you have been telling us, you said that some God revealed to you as Roman Catholics, after all you copied them from the Nile Valley. They are still on the rocks. So why do we have to follow you? So Martin Luther breaks off and the Pope sanctions him. They excommunicated him. And then it gives rise to all these Protestant churches. Now, if all these things started from the Nile Valley, we have been pouring libation, and you came and borrowed it. Then, in fact, you will get the Greco-Roman magical papyrus. After having banned magical practices in the Nile Valley, they came out with their own version. You know about the 6, 7, and 8 books of Moses up to the 10th. Then you look at them, and you see that they were all written in the hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphics was nothing in Rome. And even the guy called Moses, the Bible tells you he was found in a basket near the Pharaoh's residence. So everything that Moses would have done, he learned from the Nile Valley. And he presented it, and they are presenting it to us as something very unique to some people known as the Hebrews. Now, what was his name? Ptolemy Philadelphus II was supposed to have gotten 70 priests or scholars, Jewish scholars, to translate the Hebrew Torah. Then you ask yourself, the Jews and the Hebrews, what was the difference between them? And how come that Ptolemy will come from his native Greece to come and get people to translate the Hebrew Torah into common Greek in the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. So they do all that one, and they name it the Greek Bible. Whatever you are doing in Egypt is based on what you found there. And if the Torah was written by Moses, and Moses, you will agree, all the Christians will agree that Moses was by far younger than Abraham. And Moses was not present, according to the biblical text, at the time that God was creating the earth and the world. So where did Moses get that story from? Moses got what the ancient Egyptians have put down on the papyrus, on the rocks, in the temples. And that's what has been taken and presented to us.
Okay, viewers, we are in a conversation with Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi of the Reformed Africanian Mission. And we are talking about African traditional religion in relation to other religions and the concepts and principles. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, I'd like us to take a few steps back into the days of Imhotep and Akhenaten. Those are said to be some of the earlier priests of African religion.
Yes.
We go back to the days of Imhotep and Akhenaten. Short break.
How much is this?
600.
Wonderful. I think I'll take this one.
But what's your size?
44.
This is 43. I can get you 44. This is the man, your home of quality shoes from the UK. We have various shoes for the office, for your formal and casual occasions. Visit the man in Abilingpe. Our office is located just behind Aquatech. Our telephone numbers are 020-873-7166. You can also reach us on our landline 0302-730-760. We'll be expecting you.
Hello and welcome back to Talk Time. We're talking about African traditional religion and its relations with other religions and relevance today. And just before we went on the break, I raised the issue of Akhenaten
and Imhotep.
What about them? Why do Africans think that they represent the origins of African traditional religion?
Interesting question. Imhotep, from coming Tuesday, we're going to organize, in fact, the consultant will be coming from the UK by the close of the week. And what we hope to achieve from Tuesday is to try to understand or teach people to be capable of transcribing the hieroglyphs. At least up to now, it's only the Europeans who have transcribed the hieroglyphs and are giving us names. We know as a fact, when you go to the Giza pyramid, the Sphinx in front of the pyramid, the Sphinx of Giza, the head shows clearly that is the face. The face of the Sphinx shows you is the face of a black man, according to Herodotus' description of the races in those times. The broad nose, the thick lips, the fan-like ears, the eyes, and the woolly hair. Now, it tells you if the Sphinx is depicting a black man. And in fact, you go into the book written by Sheikh Anta Diop, barbarism or civilization, you have this picture, wall painting, which was found in the tomb of Pharaoh Ramses III, 1,200 years earlier. The ancient Egyptians described themselves or painted themselves as blacks. If they were blacks, then Imhotep was black. Now, what was the meaning of the name Imhotep? I was talking to a chief yesterday, and he was telling me that, oh, Imhotep is a Monkote. But we want to transcribe the hieroglyphs ourselves. If we transcribe the hieroglyphs, we will get the correct names. Akhenaten is supposed to be the one who initiated the one God doctrine. Fine. But we want to find out what was the actual name. What was the family lineage of these people? Sheikh Anta Diop has told us that they were blacks. The Pharaoh and his descendants were blacks who left the Nile Valley, and which was precipitated by the invasions of the Hyksos, the Assyrians, lately the Arabs, the Jews, and all these people have invaded. And out of this invasion, the people left. And once they have left, they left with the knowledge system. Imhotep was described as the first medical practitioner, and the first mathematician, the first who developed the Saqqara pyramid. And if he did that one, then the assignment of the Pythagorean theorem to Pythagoras will not hold. Because Imhotep would have done that one, and he used that knowledge to build the pyramid of Saqqara. And others have used that knowledge to build even the Great Giza pyramid. So if they have done all these ones, who were they? If they were blacks, what was the language that they spoke? We have the late Professor Donani. He had written about Ewe being the language spoken in the Nile Valley. I was reading one Professor Mabuhinde Bilolo from Congo, Kinshasa. He had also written about Bantu being the language of the Nile Valley. We are still searching. We must find out what was the language there. Because as you are on two legs now, one leg must be your language, the other leg must be your name. But unfortunately for us in this part of the world, we have been made to feel that our languages are not important. Our names are not important. So we are communicating as two black people in a language imposed on us, and you go to school, you must be made to learn someone else's language. Looking through one of the newspapers the other time, they said you can learn French, Arabic, Chinese. And I said, what is happening? How about our own languages? We are leaving our languages out of the equation. We are leaving our names out of the equation. So we are becoming a people without any culture. And once we don't have a culture, we cannot develop. Imhotep, if we are able to decipher his name after the next 10 days of the course, we will be able to tell you whether he comes from here or there and what that name means.
Is it true that the concept of the Trinity was developed in the days of Imhotep and Akhenaten, or Akhenaten, about 2,000 years before the birth of Christ? Is that true?
Was Christ born? And where was the Christ?
Tell me.
If you read the attributes of Horus, all the attributes of Horus are the attributes the Romans have given to that strange, non-existent figure known as Jesus the Christ.
Why do you describe him as strange, non-existent?
I was reading this lady, Annie Besant's write-up, and said, if that character ever existed, there seems to be no record anywhere, not even in the Vatican, about all the attributes given to him. That presentation, you realize that the Bible even tells you that when Jesus and the mother and all these things ran away from so-called Nazareth, they came where? They came to Egypt. Egypt was the land of the black people. If you read Sheikh Anta Diop and the Germans, they have written they have got all the records. Everywhere, they are telling you that the people of the Nile Valley were blacks. So where was this white man, Jesus Christ? He was nowhere.
But Jesus could have been black. Would it have been
if he were black, what did he do? Because we know of how Horus came into being from the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Isis. Mm-hmm. So are we being told that Horus came and Jesus also came? Not possible. And if we narrate how Horus was born and how Horus fought the uncle who had killed the father, Osiris, all these names are Greek names given to them, but we will, by the close of this month, be capable of understanding their real names, and we will move from knowing their real names to understanding what actually happened. But this Jesus character, at times they will tell you Jesus went to India to go and study this or that, is a bit outlandish.
Well, Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi, thank you very much for coming. And viewers, we've been talking about African traditional religion with Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi of the Reformed Africanian Mission. We're all learning, and I hope...
That's the program for...
No, that's the program for starting Tuesday...
11th. And the
April,
topics are there that you have to deal with.
Okay. But we've been talking to Osofo Kofitse Ahadzi about African traditional religion. We are all learning, and I do hope that we've learned a thing or two. See you again next week, but until then, it's goodbye from all of us at Pan-African Television. All of us, cameramen, everybody, sounds people, everybody, editor, production team, see you very soon. Bye-bye.